So people ask me all the time, what's my specialty? What do my clients ask for the most? What do I cook for them the most? What's like my best dish? Hey there, Chef Shelley here. I've been cooking for clients for years as a personal chef, and this channel is for passionate home cooks who want to get paid to do what they love too. So if that sounds like you, be sure to click subscribe and hit that little bell so that you never miss one of my weekly videos full of helpful information and tips to get started. So what the people who ask me this don't really realize is, as a personal chef doing meal prep, clients get to have whatever they want to have. So I'm not the one that's really deciding what they eat each and every week. Now, sometimes they choose things that just, well, they're good. Now, that being said, food is like art. I mean, past a certain level of technique, it is totally subjective, right? And what one person loves, another person might loathe. There's a cooking show for you, huh? Love it or loathe it. If you agree with that, for instance, one person's perfect Thanksgiving dressing is white bread with celery, onion, sage, and thyme, and that's it. And another person's ultimate Thanksgiving stuffing might be cornbread with sausage, or maybe oyster stuffing, or maybe fruits and nuts. But whatever it is, we can all get along, right? Hit that thumbs up and agree if you have a favorite stuffing and you know you're right and you understand other people have a completely different opinion on it. So I've been cooking for some of the same clients for years, and some of them have been with me for a long time, and they'll just say, hey, can you make this? And it could be anything from, a classic dish to something they had at a restaurant or something saw on a cookbook or online or whatever. I even had a client's daughter find a recipe on TikTok and said she wanted it. And I was like, sure, no problem. At this point, I'm fine with clients doing that, but when you were just starting out, I do not recommend that you do this for a couple reasons. First of all, the whole point of compiling your recipe library, going through the client interview, finding out what the clients want to eat and their preferences, and then giving them a list to choose from, is so that they're in control of what they're choosing. They get to eat what they want to eat, but you are in control of what they're choosing from. That way, they're not demanding that you make things that, you don't know how to make, or that you're not sure are going to taste good. You're not risking your reputation, right? And the cooking relationship with them. I never recommend that you practice on clients with a dish you're not familiar with. If you don't know it, you certainly shouldn't be making it for paying clients. So again, what I'm talking about here is clients I've worked with for a million years, and they know exactly what they're getting into when they ask me to make some rando recipe that they want. So when it comes down to the worst classic recipe that I've ever had to make, it has to be vitello tonetto. So anyone here who's Italian and has grown up with it as a dish from when they were very young, and it is an absolute favorite, I will just apologize now. Because as someone who hasn't grown up with it, in my formative years when my brain was still impressionable and could take this in, having very thinly sliced veal cutlets smothered in a cold tuna fish sauce, I'm sorry, I just cannot get there. Not sorry. Another weird one that I had was a vegetarian client, and it started out seeming normal. It was fried wontons, and they were filled with a tofu puree. So, that was like a replacement for the cream cheese. Sure, if you're vegetarian and you don't want the crab filling, or if you're vegan, that's a perfect substitute, right? Tofu for the cream cheese. You can get there texturally. But it was filled with fresh tarragon. Okay, so we're going to kind of go, sort of fusion. We'll go, okay, tarragon, French, whatever. But then it was still served with duck sauce. So that was just kind of odd. But whatever, okay, that was what the client wanted and liked, right? Then one time I had a client want octopus. And that's literally all the direction they gave me. So I made a lovely dish, cold dish, a salad dressed with baby octopus, and nope, that was not what they wanted. So a little more direction, and I got to what they wanted eventually. And what it actually was a braised whole octopus with like tomatoes and olives, that sort of dish. And I thought it was good, to be honest. It wasn't, a thing for me. But the weird part about it was just cooking a whole octopus was so funny in front of their kids, right? I'd pull out this big old dangly octopus and they would just lose it and nearly get hysterical. So that was a lot of fun and pretty weird. And then finally, the hardest one for me that I ever had to taste was a client who did 0 sodium. Okay, now obviously this is past like the naturally occurring sodium in food because food does have that, but you know how it is. Food needs salt, right? That's just like a fact of life. So on top of that, our taste buds, like the more you salt your food, the more you feel like food needs more salt. So I have to say, I'm probably a pretty moderate salter. I'm a solid medium salter. And having to taste food that had 0 salt was really tough. I mean, everything tasted like nothing. It's one thing like if you're eating an apple or carrot sticks, but it's another thing when you're trying to taste something like shepherd's pie and it's got no salt. It's just weird. So there you have it. Those are some of the worst or weirdest foods that I've ever made for clients. If you've had something weird yourself, or if there's a food that you love that other people think is weird, let me know in the comments or DM me because I would love to hear about it. Let's talk weird food. But right now I am just going to go eat some plain old-fashioned regular macaroni and cheese.